She was once the most notorious temptress in the Joseon dynasty. After committing a serious crime, she was sentenced by the king to die from poison, but she refused to give up without a fight and struggled with all her strength. Even so, the palace maids still managed to hold her down. In the end, they forced the poison into her mouth, but the second the poison touched her lips, the once peaceful sky exploded with thunder. A lightning bolt suddenly struck from above. Then massive hailstones started crashing down everywhere. Right when she was about to take her last breath, a rare total solar eclipse appeared in the sky. She should have died on the spot, but instead she mysteriously woke up 300 years in the future. What made it even stranger was that she appeared in the exact same location as before, only now a film crew was shooting a historical drama there. The bright studio lights made her think the sun had fallen from the sky. They were so close that she believed the poison had made her hallucinate. The bizarre actions of the people around her only made her more confused. She stared around in complete panic, trying to figure out what was happening. Meanwhile, the director kept praising her acting skills. He believed this stunt actress had performed a dead person perfectly. Soon a group of staff members rushed toward her, preparing to force poison into her mouth again. Luckily, the director stopped them just in time, avoiding total chaos. Even at that moment, Lisa still believed she was inside the Joseon royal palace. She even ordered people to arrest the director on the spot, but in everyone else's eyes, she was nothing more than an extra actor who was too deep in character. No one took her words seriously. That instantly made her think everyone around her had gone insane. How dare they ignore her orders? At that moment, the friend playing the maid quickly pulled her aside and placed a hand on her forehead, thinking she was delirious from a fever. Only then did Lisa finally begin to notice something was wrong. The strange clothing around her looked unlike anything she had ever seen, especially the two blonde foreigners nearby, who made her believe she had somehow arrived in a distant western land. Just as she began wondering if she was trapped in another country, a foreign girl suddenly walked over asking for a photo together. The moment she saw herself on the phone screen with the beauty filter applied, she instantly lost control emotionally. She frantically searched everywhere for a mirror and finally snatched one from someone nearby. But the second she saw the face in the reflection, she completely froze in place. Then in the very next second, she suddenly remembered something extremely important. The day before she was forced to drink the poison, the Holy Mother had asked for her blood and told her something deeply mysterious. If you want to survive, you must first die once. Back then her arm had clearly been cut open, but now there was not even the slightest scar left behind. There was no way a wound could heal overnight. And suddenly a terrifying thought appeared inside her mind. Had she somehow switched bodies with someone else? The woman suddenly realized she had switched bodies with someone else. She froze on the spot, unable to believe what was happening in front of her. Right at that moment, her friend smacked the back of her head without warning, telling her that her strange behavior had already upset the royal envoy. She wanted to lose her temper on the spot, but forced herself to stay calm instead, deciding to stay quiet and watch the situation first. Not long after that, Alice arrived with the envoy to confront her. Lisa had always been excellent at reading people inside the palace. After just one glance, she immediately knew the envoy was bad news. The man clearly enjoyed looking down on others. As for Alice, she was obviously the fake and manipulative type, always flattering powerful people while picking on anyone weaker than herself. But the young maid standing nearby actually gave Lisa a better impression. So Lisa quickly hid her sharp attitude and carefully explained herself, saying she simply wanted to start living differently. That way, even if her personality suddenly changed, no one would become suspicious. But just as she started acting calm and elegant, a sudden phone ringtone interrupted everything. She had originally planned to scold her friend after she returned, but in the next second, she noticed a room filled with torture tools. Her first instinct was to think an interrogation was about to begin, and while panic filled her mind, several blood-covered people were suddenly dragged inside. She stared in horror at the injured prisoners being held captive. Through pure coincidence, she somehow escaped from the filming set, but once she stepped outside, everything she saw completely shocked her. Towering skyscrapers stretching into the clouds, strange outfits she had never seen before, and steel machines faster than war horses, racing wildly through the streets. The overwhelming shock nearly left her breathless, as she wandered forward like someone who had lost her soul. At the very same time, the infamous Korean chaebol heir John was sitting in his car on the way to a negotiation. His reputation was just as terrible as Lisa's. He would do absolutely anything to get what he wanted. And today, online users had gone so far as to create an AI-generated video of him attacking someone, then spread it all over the internet, making his public image even worse. John only complained about it for a moment, but when the driver turned around to answer him, he accidentally hit the dazed Lisa. John immediately assumed she was another protester targeting him, and Lisa's strange reactions only made him think she was putting on some kind of act. Just then, a speeding car suddenly rushed toward them. Seeing Lisa about to get hit, John instinctively grabbed her and pulled her back, because he knew very well, if an accident happened, his reputation would become even more disastrous. The two of them soon started swinging flowers at each other right in the middle of the street. The ridiculous scene quickly attracted a huge crowd. Left with no other choice, John hurried to stop the chaos. He admitted his driver was partly responsible for not paying attention to the road, then handed Lisa his business card, telling her to get checked at the hospital, and promising to cover every expense. In his opinion, he had already done more than enough, but this crazy woman still left an unforgettable impression on him. John never could have have imagined that their lives would become hopelessly tangled together in the future. The woman wandered through the streets completely lost. Then she suddenly heard a tour guide shouting nearby, "The Joseon Dynasty time travel tour is about to begin." She thought she had finally found a way back home, so she quickly followed the crowd. But when she arrived, she realized the so-called time travel experience was nothing more than a museum about the royal palace of Joseon. Just as disappointment filled her face, she suddenly spotted a painting she created before her death. But a second later, the guide explained that the artwork belonged to the infamous queen. Lisa could not believe it. After her death, she had been reduced to a disgraced commoner hated by everyone. At that moment, a young woman studying Korean history approached her. The girl was working on a paper about the villainous Lisa, but strangely enough, there were almost no official records about Lisa in real history. Only old unofficial stories still mentioned her existence. According to those stories, Lisa came from a poor background, but she was ruthless and cruel. Everyone inside the palace feared her, and no one truly liked her. People even blamed every disaster on her. The endless droughts, the ruined crops, the deadly plagues, even political chaos and invading enemies were said to be caused by her presence. In the eyes of the people, she was treated like a cursed woman who brought disaster everywhere. Lisa never imagined that 300 years later, she would become a joke mocked even by children. The only thing she left behind in history was a reputation stained with endless hatred. While she stood there feeling helpless, a fortune teller on the street suddenly noticed something strange about her. After hearing her story, the fortune teller made a bold conclusion. She was not some divine being reborn. It was more like her soul had crossed into another time. After listening to the explanation, Lisa finally understood. She had been thrown into a completely unfamiliar world, and there was no way back anymore. But whether it was punishment or fate, at least she was still alive. Compared to death, that alone already felt like mercy. Once she accepted the truth, Lisa decided to treat this life as a fresh start. This time, she would live only for herself and see everything fate gave her as a reward. Even in the past, she had no powerful family or supporters, yet she still climbed all the way to the top. Now, even without servants by her side, she was determined to survive in this new era again. Before long, she set her eyes on a man named John. The man was arrogant and disrespectful, but he never bowed to anyone, whether it was the pride in his eyes or the confidence in the way he carried himself. Everything about him screamed power and wealth. With just one glance, Lisa knew he was someone standing above everyone else. After asking around, she walked straight into John's company. At that moment, the company was holding an open audition for a cosmetics spokesperson. The lobby was packed with young women hoping to get selected. Some of them were even dressed in traditional Korean clothing. Lisa walked to the front desk and handed over her card. She originally planned to meet John directly, but the staff mistakenly thought she was there for the audition. When asked to write down her name, she suddenly hesitated. Since this was a new life, maybe it was time to become someone else. She remembered people once calling her Anna on set, so she simply used that name instead. While waiting in line, Alice suddenly appeared again. She was there to compete for the modeling position too. She had been looking for a chance to settle the score, and now she ran straight into Lisa again. But when it came to arguing with people, Lisa had never lost to anyone. The woman had just traveled from ancient Korea 300 years ago into the modern world. Yet with her intelligence and survival skills, she quickly became a popular livestream seller. She even managed to speak fluent Chinese and sold out thousands of Chinese books during a single livestream. Before all that happened, Lisa, who had saved John's life, was personally brought into his office. To ordinary people, it was only a luxurious business building, but in Lisa's eyes it looked like a royal palace where rulers handled state affairs. She secretly realized the man standing before her was no ordinary person. At the very least, he had to be someone with tremendous authority, and with his impressive appearance as well. Lisa became convinced of one thing: she needed to make John the most dependable support in her new life. When John questioned her abilities, Lisa explained that she could sense danger ahead of time because she was born with instincts far sharper than normal people. Back in the dangerous and scheming Joseon era, she survived countless assassination attempts and poisonings because of that gift. No matter what kind of trap others prepared or what sort of ambush waited for her, she could always detect something wrong in advance. That was also the reason she climbed from nothing to the peak of power. Lisa proudly told John, "Without me you would already be dead." Right after that, she once again suggested they work together. In her opinion, even though John possessed money and influence, his life was still constantly at risk. After all, no matter how rich or powerful someone becomes, none of it matters if they cannot stay alive, and she happened to be the person capable of protecting him. Lisa was completely confident, certain that John would accept her proposal. But instead, she was dragged out of the company by 2 security guards. Still, John did not treat her too harshly. He even arranged for Paul to drive her home. The first time Lisa saw a car, she stared at it in complete shock, but not long after getting inside, the motion made her so dizzy she nearly threw up. Paul thought something was wrong with her health, only to realize she was simply carsick. As someone from ancient times riding in a car for the first time, her reaction was actually understandable. But the thing that truly broke Lisa came afterward. Once the car stopped, she was completely stunned by the place in front of her. The original owner, Duke, had been living in a tiny rundown Gashawon. Before arriving, she still held onto a little hope, but reality turned out far poorer than she imagined. For a brief moment, she even forgot she had crossed into another era. She instinctively stood at the entrance with her hands behind her back and almost called for servants out of habit. Just as she was about to walk inside. The landlord suddenly appeared. Lisa had been worried about finding Duke's room, but the landlord's arrival ended up helping her greatly. Duke's grandmother had specially come to visit her granddaughter. After starving the entire day, Lisa did not even bother pretending to be polite, and immediately finished all the food prepared for dinner. The taste, however, was almost unbearable, and her expression slowly became more painful with every bite. Even so, she still forced herself to swallow everything. Before leaving, the grandmother secretly handed her some money, which finally helped relieve her urgent situation. But the moment Lisa truly stepped into the room, she went completely silent. After returning to her room, Lisa curiously played with the lamp sitting on the desk. She stared at the strange device that could light up or go dark with a single pull. Shock filled her face. She could not believe something this magical even existed. But moments later, her expression slowly faded. The lamp reminded her of the painful days when she first entered the palace. Back then she had no status at all. She was bullied and humiliated almost every day. Faced with those vicious maids, Lisa never chose to stay quiet. She grabbed the unknown liquid and splashed it right back at them. But her defiance only brought even crueler punishment. The maid shoved her into a cramped wooden box, then placed heavy stones on top to trap her inside. Buried in darkness, Lisa pounded on the box with all her strength. She screamed desperately for someone to save her. That same day, a man resting on the floor in the distance was suddenly awakened by her cries, and that man appeared to be none other than John, the same person Lisa once saved in the modern world. After calming herself down, Lisa began reading through the diary Grace had left behind. Only then did she truly understand the tragic life of the girl who once owned this body. Grace had been a child actress since she was young. Her biggest dream was becoming a respected actress someday, but reality crushed her hopes again and again. To chase her dream, she worked as an extra during the day, and took side jobs at night just to survive. Even when she barely had enough money to eat, she still mailed living expenses to her grandmother every month. Near the end of the diary, Grace clearly wrote about wanting to end her own life, but Lisa had no intention of following that path. Now that this body belonged to her, she swore she would rewrite her fate. She planned to climb back to the top of power once again, and treat it as repayment for the body Grace had given her. She casually took a set of clothes someone had left outside to dry. From that moment on, Lisa officially began adapting to modern life. While learning about the modern world, she accidentally came across a video explaining an ancient costume drama. As she kept watching, tears slowly streamed down her face, especially after hearing one particular line. She became so emotional that she jumped to her feet and started cheering loudly. While washing clothes one day, Lisa suddenly sensed danger again. Her instincts immediately told her someone was secretly taking pictures of her. Without even thinking, she hurled the stick in her hand straight toward the hidden stalker. The stick hit the man perfectly. One neighbor planned to steal some of Lisa's side dishes, but before touching the food, she noticed a note covered with vicious curses aimed at thieves. The neighbor brushed it off at first, but the next second, she realized Lisa was staring directly at her without blinking. Because of these outrageous yet fearless actions, Lisa slowly became a local hero among the neighbors at the exam housing complex. After waiting forever without hearing back from John, Lisa finally lost patience. She went straight to his company building herself. She hid behind a couch waiting for the perfect moment, but the second she jumped out, people almost dragged her away thinking she was some kind of psycho. By now, Lisa fully understood who John really was in modern society, and because of that, she became even more convinced that he desperately needed her help. But John still treated her coldly. Not only did he ignore everything she said, he even mocked and humiliated her right to her face. At that moment, Lisa finally snapped and stomped hard on John's foot. Right after getting the money, the woman rushed into the market and started buying food like crazy. Looking at all the modern snacks she had never seen before, she carefully took a bite out of curiosity. But after just one taste, she completely froze on the spot. The flavor was unlike anything she had ever experienced. It was so incredible that it sent chills through her whole body. Before long, Lisa completely lost control of herself, spending the borrowed money on every delicious thing she could find. Not much later, she had already burned through every dollar in her pocket. Only then did she finally realize if she kept wasting money like this, she would eventually starve to death. So she tore a hiring flyer off a utility pole and confidently believed that someone would definitely fight to hire her because of her abilities. But when the store owner asked about her previous experience, Lisa seriously explained that she had once commanded a group of nearly 500 female attendants. As expected, the owner ended up throwing her out immediately. Even though she kept failing to find a job, Lisa never lost confidence. She truly believed that with her talents, she would eventually find her place in this new world. What she didn't know was that her strange behavior on set earlier had already been edited into joke videos and uploaded online. In less than one day, she unexpectedly became famous across the internet. At the same time, John's company was about to finish its model auditions. After seeing Lisa's popularity explode online, many employees suggested that she should become the new spokesperson for the company's cosmetics brand. Meanwhile, Lisa had no idea any of this was happening and was still running around trying to make money. The more she looked at the flyers in her hand, the more irritated she became, until she finally exploded in anger right on the street. At that exact moment, the boy from the nearby test center happened to notice her. The second Lisa saw him, a sudden idea popped into her head. Before the boy could even respond, she casually followed him straight to his workplace, and somehow through pure coincidence, Lisa ended up sitting inside a live-stream shopping studio. What shocked everyone even more was that the skills she learned in ancient Korea actually worked perfectly in the modern live-stream business. Whether it was chopping vegetables, carving designs, or preparing ingredients, her fast and elegant knife skills instantly amazed everyone watching. The once ordinary live-stream room suddenly became wildly popular because of her, especially while selling Chinese books. Lisa even showed off some Chinese she had learned before. After that, she started dominating all kinds of live-stream channels, and because of her non-stop hard work, products in the live-stream would often sell out just seconds after being listed. Meanwhile, John was searching for Lisa everywhere. She needed to sign Lisa before any rival companies noticed her true value. On top of that, John had recently been having the same strange dream over and over again. In the dream, she seemed to be living in ancient times and appeared to have once saved another woman. At the same time, the final product Lisa promoted during her live stream was a soup that claimed to restore energy and health. But the moment the bowl appeared in front of her, her face instantly turned pale because the familiar smell immediately reminded her of the day she had been forced to drink poison wine. Her emotions completely fell apart, and a powerful wave of nausea suddenly hit her. The moment the woman swallowed a sip of the tonic soup, painful memories instantly flooded her mind. She suddenly remembered the day she was forced to drink poison wine. Her emotions completely shattered. A violent wave of nausea hit her without warning. Lisa covered her mouth and rushed out of the live stream room while gagging uncontrollably. But the event manager thought she was trying to ruin the show on purpose. He immediately lost his temper. He stormed toward her ready to teach her a lesson. Right at that moment, John showed up in time. He stepped in and blocked the man without hesitation. Lisa was about to explain herself, but before she could speak, she suddenly noticed a figure slowly walking toward her. The second she saw the man clearly, her entire body froze in fear, because that face looked exactly like the king from ancient Korea who once ordered her execution. And the man standing there was Owen. Terrified out of her mind, Lisa ran all the way to the rooftop. She kept trying to convince herself it had to be an illusion. Just then John appeared again and officially offered her a contract deal. Before Lisa could even answer him, Owen slowly made his way upstairs as well. At that moment, Lisa finally realized the truth. None of this was her imagination. Out of instinct, Lisa desperately searched for someone who could protect her. Then, almost immediately, she threw herself straight into John's arms, doing everything she could to avoid Owen's terrifying stare. What neither of them realized was that their connection had started centuries ago during ancient Korea. Back then, when Lisa was trapped inside a wooden box, crying desperately for help, the man who saved her was actually John. Their twisted fate had followed them from the past all the way into modern times. Lisa held onto him so tightly that John could not break free no matter how hard he tried. And unfortunately for him, his longtime rival Owen witnessed the entire scene. He instantly assumed Lisa was John's girlfriend. Only after Owen finally walked away did Lisa slowly let go of John. But judging from the look on her face, it almost seemed like she was the one who got taken advantage of. John could not help blurting out a sarcastic comment. He asked if something was seriously wrong with her head. To his surprise, Lisa acted completely calm. She casually admitted that he was actually pretty useful just now. That one sentence left John completely speechless. He grabbed her by the collar before she could leave. After what just happened, Owen probably already thought he was some kind of creep, but Lisa told him to stop pretending. Meanwhile, the furious manager whose livestream got ruined by Lisa had followed them all the way there. While John was stressing over what to do next, Lisa suddenly came up with an idea. She told him she would give him a signal in a moment. Then she planned to fake fainting on purpose. After all, in her opinion, nobody would seriously attack someone who had already passed out. The next second, Lisa once again jumped straight into John's arms, and the two of them successfully escaped downstairs together. Then Lisa suddenly brought up Owen again. After finding out Owen was actually John's older brother, she completely ignored John's reaction and climbed right into the passenger seat, clearly planning to hear the full story during the drive. John was just about to drag her out of the car, but nearby people had already started gossiping about their relationship. Left with no other choice, he could only drive away first. During the trip, Lisa's motion sickness started acting up again. Seeing her condition, John walked into a convenience store while stopping for gas. He reached toward a box of stomach medicine in front of him, but the moment his hand touched it, he suddenly snapped back to reality. He could not help cursing himself under his breath. That woman had caused him trouble over and over again, so why was he still worried about her?